And here is the Writer's Almanac for Saturday. It's the 29th of February, 2020. Leap year day. February has 29 days this year instead of 28 because it takes the Earth 365 days and 6 hours to orbit the sun. So every 4 years we have to spend the extra time, or else Christmas would wind up in July. Julius Caesar's astronomers figured this system out, and in his honor, the month Quintilis was named July. But by the 16th century, the calendar had gotten 10 days off whack, so Pope Gregory reformed the Julian calendar, and ours is called the Gregorian calendar. It's the birthday of Howard Nemerov, the poet, 1920, New York City. Family-owned Russik's department store on Fifth Avenue, specializing in fine furs. Went to a very progressive school, then Harvard. Then he was a pilot in World War II. 2 years later, published his first collection of poetry, The Image of the Law. He was a formalist, disdainful of political poems. He said poetry makes things happen, but rarely what the poet wants. It was on this date in 1940, Hattie McDaniel became the first African-American to win an Academy Award. In the early days of movie making, most black parts had been played by white actors in blackface. The trade unions were closed to African Americans, and if black actors got in the movies, they were a maid or a cook or a nanny or butler, and they were expected to speak in a Negro dialect, and if they didn't know how, a white dialogue coach was brought in to teach them how to do it. Hattie McDaniel was cast as Scarlett O'Hara's sassy maid, Mammy, in Gone with the Wind. She said in her own defense that she would rather play a maid than be one. At the premiere of Gone with the Wind in Atlanta, she was prohibited from attending because of Georgia's segregation laws. Clark Gable said he would boycott if she were not allowed to come, but then he changed his mind. But in the boys' choir from Ebenezer Baptist Church that sang at the premiere in Atlanta was the son of the minister, Martin Luther King, Jr. It's the birthday of the man who said, "Give me a laundry list and I'll set it to music." Gioachino Rossini, born in Pesaro, Italy, 1792. Father was a trumpet player. Mother was a singer. Boy composed his first opera when he was 14. Went on to write The Barber of Seville, Cinderella, Moses in Egypt, and William Tell. It's the birthday of Dee Brown, born Doris Alexander Brown, 1908, in a logging camp near Alberta, Louisiana. His father was a timberman, killed when the boy was 5. His mother supported 4 children, working as a store clerk in Wachita County, Arkansas. Boy went to work as a printer, reporter, then as a librarian for most of his life, writing books after his children were in bed, books about the American West, including Bury My Heart at Wounded Knee, a somewhat less Eurocentric version of the war between the Indians and the U.S. Army in the latter half of the 19th century. Here's a poem for today by Joyce Sutphin, The Art of Revision. In the morning, I take out most of what I put in last night. I cross out everything that seems excessive, every frill and fandango, anything fluffy, a word that should never again appear in a poem, along with blossom and awesome. Once I have deleted everything except the title, which now seems to have been written by a poet who knows something I don't, I delete that as well and turn the page. All that empty space is waiting. What will I say? A poem by Joyce Sutphin, The Art of Revision, used with permission of the poet here on the Writer's Almanac. Funded by donations from listeners like you, now available on PRX for distribution by your local radio station. Be well, do good work, and keep in touch.